When you think of your favourite Inazuma 11 match, which one do you think of? Do you think of Raimon vs Epsilon with the return of Goenji and his new Hisatsu? Do you think of Zeus vs Raimon where Endo uses Majin Hand for the first time? Or in fact any of the matches that finish the series? Well, my personal favourite match happens within the first 10 episodes of Season 1. And it's episode 8, where it's Raimon vs Mikage Seno, which has one of the worst dub names possible by the way. But yeah, I'll explain why I love this match in particular. Just for some context leading up to the episode, this Raimon team has already gone through quite the ringer and I've learned some new Hisatsus. Meanwhile, the team that they're up against have been shown to be solely focused on using data and formations to play efficient football. This is almost seen immediately at the start of the episode, where they position themselves in a way that Goenji is unable to take a shot, forcing him to pass towards Somioka, then allowing him to take a shot instead. This goes according to plan. Somioka readies up a Dragon Crash, and the players line themselves up, beat the ball, and in a sense, the Dragon as well, into submission, weakening the shot so that the goalkeeper doesn't even need to use a Hisatsu to stop it. Then Mikage Seno's counterattack begins, and despite the use of specific changes to the formation, it's broken down by an unexpected element, Hazumaru's speed, which is just a glimpse into what would happen later on in the match. Almost directly afterwards, with the use of the database, Mikage Seno select a specific player to make a tackle and continue on with the counter. At the same time, the use of the soundtrack is just absolutely perfect. The tone just indicates that momentum shift back to Mikage and complements their attack onto Raimon's goal. Endo quickly analyzes the threat and asks his defenders to mark their forward, who, as shown in a previous episode, is able to produce a Hisatsu. Instead, Mikage actually passes into unoccupied space to their other forward, and instead of mashing the bottom screen for a Hisatsu, takes a shot at the top bins, forcing Endo to make a ridiculous save like he's prime Casillas. A subtle comment is made about how odd the players' movements are, and initially it's framed in a way that they look like they're talking about the Mikage Seno team, but in actuality the comment was about Raimon, and this then leads on to the realization that the training center has helped boost their stats, allowing them to exceed the data that was collected on them, making them, look a bit more different than they normally do. With this shift of momentum, Raimon counterattack. It's paired with the soundtrack swelling up just like it did with Mikage, and in actuality, it's the exact same notes. And this leads into one of my favourite sequences of all time in Inazuma 11. When Goenji receives the ball, he decides not to take one, not two, but 3 shots, one after the other, against the keeper. And the music matches so well. The electric guitar being introduced in the soundtrack whilst Goenji is using his signature Hisatsu. I love this sequence. And the reason why I love this is because it's one of the few times where the keeper on the opposition side, in this case his name is Sugimori, is just as competent as Endo, but also sufficiently struggles. He doesn't effortlessly slap away the moves. In fact, when Fire Tornado is first used, you can see a couple flames still being present, and the shot still maintaining speed, implying it hasn't been fully stopped. And this is clear as the ball slams into his hands and he has to push it away. Then, when Dragon Tornado is used, you can see more flames present, the keeper also showing some signs of struggle, and when he does rebound the shot, he's animated to show backpedaling to the point where he has to punch the ground to stabilize himself. And this addition is so good. There's so much weight to the moves in this. Then, on the third and final shot, he finally uses his more powerful move of Rocket Kobushi, and briefly mentions how the data should imply that his shot pocket would have been enough. Again, this is clearly a hint to the fact that the training center has made Raimon much more stronger than the data implies. Play continues and it's Mikage's turn to attack again, and it's pretty much the exact same attack as the first time. In fact, the pass being played is exactly the same, the player making the pass is exactly the same, and the player receiving the pass is also the same. It's a fierce kick, Endo reacts, but it's not a shot. Actually, it's a pass to the other side of the goal. Surely this one must be a goal, right? However, Endo turns quickly. The ball's too fast for Godhand, his signature move. Instead, he opts for Neketsu Punch, and it's successful. He managed to stop a goal despite 2 cheeky sweaty... no, never mind. It's another rebound. And Mikage score a tap in. Lovely. But again, I love this as it shows two competent keepers dealing with their own problems. Sugimori is sat there dealing with the raw power and persistence of Raimon, getting hit with Hisatsu after Hisatsu. Meanwhile, Endo's dealing with a team that are relying solely on efficient passing and formations, which throw him off balance so much he can't use Hisatsus comfortably, and a simple shot is able to go in. The main priority for Mikage is just to win, so they simply park the entire bus company in order to keep the score at 1-0 until the end of the first half. Now, the second half begins, and they continue their sentiment of not attacking, but the Mikage coach is instructed to take it one step further, and quote-unquote, physically take them out of the game so they can no longer play and guarantee their win. The Mikage coach complies with this because he's a subordinate of Kageyama and that is a direct order, but the straight-laced captain Sugimori, who normally follows orders from the coach, hesitates, as physical harm isn't part of football. Well, for some people at least. This in turn causes the first rejection of orders. While this is happening, Endo just sat a goal, doing absolutely nothing until prompted by Domon, asking if he can go up instead, since he's got nothing to defend. And thus starts the first of many times where Endo just sprints up because he has free will. One of my favourite OSTs starts as he goes on a full sprint towards the ball, somehow steals it and just dribbles all the way to the goal and takes a shot. Now, this is just a standard shot, but because Mikage are so enamored by the data, Sugimori actually hesitates, but still saves it. Being the cold, calculated footballer he is, he simply asks Endo, why the hell do you just run and shoot by yourself? Well, it's fun. And it's to score a goal. As a reaction, Sugimori starts to think for himself and completely go against orders. In the first half of the game, there were moments where small miscommunications caused the ball to be lost, but with the coach and Mikage working together, they were able to keep their play efficient. However, even with the long list of formations, they lose the ball in such a weird way. In a similar vein to Blue Lock, where Rin gets confused by Barrow and his playstyle going against the football norm, Mikage quickly loses the ball due to some weird improvised tackle by Kageyama, by face planting the ground and nudging the ball. However, this doesn't stop Mikage taking a shot on goal with an actual Hisatsu, and Endo, I'm guessing with the extra power he got from the training center, just uses a single fist to punch it out for a corner. All in the meanwhile, the Mikage coach is fighting to restore their obedience, but this ends up causing more mistakes to occur. Now, the only problem I have with this episode is Endo and Goenji do a complete ass pull of a move with Inazuma Ichigo. And the only real explanation they have, realistically, is that they were able to do this move because of their access to the training center. Not only that, not only is it a new Hisatsu, they oppose a shot and make it a new shot, a long shot, from their own box, and score with it, making it 1-1. And then Raimon's momentum continues, and they're able to score a second goal pretty quickly, causing Kageyama to berate Mikage and the coach, dropping communications, and Mikage's coach manages to lose morale, dropping his sick MetaQuest beta, and the players lose their communication with the coach. Team morale drops, and they simply surrender. However, Sugimori, still under the impression that they can win, launches his shot pocket to try and block the next shot. And it still isn't enough, but he puts both of his boots behind him, blocking the shot, and rouses his team to continue playing until the end. I sincerely love this moment of the episode. They truly made this team, or in particular Sugimori, feel equal in terms of main character moments, instead of making the keeper really overpowered until he suddenly isn't, which annoyingly happens quite a fair amount in Inazuma 11. And yet again, the timing of the soundtrack really adds to this moment. The music swells when they're about to go on the counterattack, and the camera follows on their players. All in the while you hear this heavy panting, sprinting at Raimon, while they look like Chigiri in Blue Lock while running. Anyway, the game becomes a slideshow of both teams attacking and saving shots until the final part, where Goenji and Arata clash in midair. Arata heads the ball to Sugimori, spurring him on to keep going and score one final goal to bring the game to extra time. And he does just that, fully embracing Endo's idea of the game. He takes the ball himself, dribbles past everyone, and just puts his boots entirely through the ball. Endo replies by using God Hand for the first time in the episode. And you can watch the episode again if you don't believe me. He doesn't use his signature Hisatsu until the very end of the game. And the match ends there. A 2-1 win for Raimon, but both teams being congratulated for the way they played because they both embraced playing football for how fun it was, rather than how efficient they could be. And in a way, this does kind of describe how football's being played nowadays. It's all about being efficient, being able to win efficiently, but I just love chaos. Well, thanks for listening to me ramble about an episode of Inazuma 11, but seriously, I love this episode so much. Everything about it included everything I loved about Inazuma 11. The music, the story, just about playing for fun, the pace of the match, everything good. It only lasted an episode as well. It lasted a single episode. The match started and finished in the same episode. I cannot fathom that. Anyway, do you have a different opinion on your favourite episode? If so, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to read other people's opinions on what their favourite match is. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe. See ya.